What is going on, guys? Welcome to my channel and welcome to my quick overview of the DJI Mavic Mini. Now again, I don't usually do tech reviews, but this is a new toy I thought I'd have to share with you guys because it's going to be benefiting my channel, and I wanted to sort of talk about it and give it a quick overview of my first impressions of using it for one charging, playing with it a bit to get some footage. So previously I did own a Mavic Pro, which was a slightly larger drone, I'd say about triple the weight. A little bit larger in terms of footprint, and it had a few better features like active object tracking. The video on the Mavic Pro was 4K, where this is only 2.7K, and the top speed of the drone was 35 miles per hour, where this is I think 29, so it's slightly slower in sport mode in comparison with its much bigger brother which preceded it. Now I sold this drone for financial reasons, trying to keep my R35 GTR on the road, because we all know that's quite an expensive car to maintain. But I sold that drone, and I've ever since then missed owning a drone, so I jumped in at the Mavic Mini and thought, while I'm going to be lacking that 4K footage, I can always upscale the footage and upscale it to 4K and see how it looks. Because looking at the views online, I thought the video quality looked more than ample for a small scale YouTube channel like mine. So I decided to go ahead and purchase this drone. Now my car's sorted out and I'm a bit more financially stable. Anyway, this drone, yes, a 29 mile per hour top speed. It has a gimbaled 2.7K camera, which in my opinion looks fantastic for 2.7K, very sharp, and the gimbal does a fantastic job of stabilising the footage, which is very important because the drone is only 249 grams. That number is significant for two reasons. Number one, because it means the drone gets a little bit buffeted around in wind. It does a good job of keeping itself in position with GPS, but you can hear the motors working to try and keep it stable because it is so light. Wind does sort of knock it around a bit, but the gimbal does keep it steady, and the video footage is actually fantastic despite the drone getting a little bit of buffeting because of its incredibly lightweight. 249 grams is also significant because it is the 1 gram under the limit that the Civil Aviation Authority says is required to be an authorised drone pilot. So anything that's 250 grams and above with a camera requires you to have a drone licence here, I believe in the whole of Europe, but definitely here in England, which requires an online questionnaire, and I think it's a £9 annual subscription. So not a lot of money really. But the paperwork can be annoying because it's not something you want to get into. And this sort of classifies itself as a toy where it's so light, and that means you can sort of negate all of that stuff, and it's sort of a loophole into getting a high-end consumer camera drone without paying for the aviation license. So first impressions, I personally bought the standard Mavic Mini. This came with a single battery, an SD card, and the flight controller, a few spare propellers and screws, and I also added on a carry bag, and all of those things from DJI directly was I think £435, £425 including the travel bag. So that's a 64 gig SD card. I'd recommend buying one from them so you know it's the right sort of latency and speed, because you need it to record the footage properly. And a controller with two sets of spare sort of nubs for the controller, because obviously you can see the nubs sort of slot on there and pop out of it. Came with all the required cables to charge it, minus the wall adapter. You just have to find your own wall adapter. It assumes you've got a nice mobile phone, so you've got a wall adapter, let's be honest. As well as spare props, spare screws, spare thumbsticks, and pretty much everything you need to get started with a single flight battery. Now I've got a little bit of buyer's remorse because for an extra £50 I could have had two more flight batteries, propeller guards for when flying indoors, and a few extra things like more spare propeller blades and that will be called the Fly More combo, and for that I think I could have paid about £480, £490 including an SD card, and then I would have had more batteries and a charging station to charge the batteries in simultaneously, which would have been nice. But for my use case, this thing has 30 minutes of flight time, which is 10 minutes longer than the original Mavic Pro, and for me I never need to fly for more than 30 minutes at a time, and then I can recharge it for a few hours at home or wherever I am on the go anyway. So to be honest, I think for someone who's a low-level videographer like I am, who only needs it for the 30-minute flight at a time to show off a location you're at and give a sense of setting, it's perfect. I don't really need the extra batteries, but I sort of wish for the extra £50 premium I bought them now. So in hindsight, if you think you're going to want them, buy them and don't have buyer's remorse like I did. So initially the drone's very easy to set up. The propellers all come pre-attached. Please note they do have markings on them for specific ways they need to be mounted if you do need to replace the propellers, so please pay attention to that. You have to download an app, install the firmware, update the firmware on the device, which is all done over the internet, and then it is ready to be taken out and flown. It has things like return to home features using GPS to return to a set height in the app, fly back to its original takeoff location and land if you press the return to home button, or if it does lose connection with the controller, or your phone dies, or you drop the controller. Hopefully that means as long as you check you have a GPS signal and the compass is correctly calibrated upon takeoff, the drone will return home and hopefully won't run away from you. You can additionally buy things like DJI Care Refresh in case you crash the drone, so you can have cheaper repairs if you do need to send it off to be repaired, or have replacement units sent to you if it is a business requirement and it is how you earn money, which in my case it's really not, it's a toy. The only thing it is also lacking is obstacle avoidance. Now this means it hasn't got front-facing sensors, so you can just go straight into a tree if you want to. So please, it is very hard with a small drone. Telling what direction it's heading in almost, and having sort of a sense of depth is very difficult. So just try and be extra wary of your surroundings, because this thing will crash if you tell it to. But additionally, it doesn't have active tracking. This is a negative because I can't get it to follow my car without controlling it, or follow my bike, which I'll soon be getting to do sort of shots of my cars and my bikes, well, cars and hopefully a bike soon. Which is kind of annoying because I did like the active track feature in the original Mavic. However, it means it's not going to fly itself into a tree like my Mavic did once, in theory, unless you tell it to. So yeah, you've got to be relatively sensible and not fly into a tree. But the quality of the video you get out of this thing, upscaled to 4K, even without any colour editing, I think looks pretty accurate. You can't adjust the exposure on the fly. You basically just aim the camera up or down to have more sky in the shot, to have it exposed how you want. You can then lock the exposure if you want, but the camera settings are pretty minimal with this. You can shoot 2.7K at 25 or 30 FPS, and you can shoot 1080p at 50 or 30 or 25 FPS. So it's better than full HD, and the footage is certainly very usable for consumer grade stuff, but if you're doing professional work, it's probably usable as long as you colour correct it. But I really just think this is more of a consumer grade drone for low grade YouTubers, or people who just sort of want to get into the hobby of drones, to be honest. Additionally, at its price point of £400 roughly, it is still very expensive. You know, if you were to lose this thing, it would sting. But if you were to crash a £1,300 Mavic 2 Pro into the ocean, that, I mean, this would ruin my day. That would ruin your month, to be honest, wouldn't it? That would be like, you know, I'd be distraught, because that is a lot of money. And while I agree this is still a significant amount of money, the fact that it's a third of the price means the panic when flying it is slightly less, because you want to look after it, you want to take care of it, but it won't completely, you know, financially ruin you if you do crash one. Just sort of make you a bit miserable. But having said that, controls are very intuitive, just as good as the original Mavic, and I think as long as you're careful with it and you practice with it, you're going to learn to fly it fine. It's very responsive, very intuitive, and hopefully you won't be in that bracket that crashes it, because I'm hoping I'm not either. But the spare props are a nice little peace of mind. But maybe practice with it a fair bit before you fly over a body of water. Yeah, so here's the footage, long and awaited. I thought I'd have to talk about the footage. The footage is fantastic in my opinion for 2.7K. Very well stabilised considering how the drone sort of buffets in the wind because of its weight. I think here you can see it's quite crisp. There's a little bit of sort of computer artifacting in the dense leaves and stuff, but as long as the drone isn't moving too fast and the subjects are relatively still, I think the onboard processor does a fantastic job of compressing the footage and making it look absolutely fantastic for consumer grade use and general YouTube applications like I'm going to be using it for. The fact that it has a cinematic, sport and regular mode is also lovely, because you can control the speed of the drone to really get smooth transitional shots and really sort of show off the sort of space that you're in without having to fly the drone with infinitesimally small sort of adjustments. You can actually just set it to react very slowly to what you do, and then you'll get much more cinematic footage. Equally, you can set it to sport mode, fly it back quick if you don't want to use the return to home function, which can take a minute or two, which can be a little annoying. Anyway guys, I hope this has convinced you guys, if you are looking into getting into drones, to check out the Mavic Mini if you're just using it for sort of consumer level YouTube production stuff, because I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with the drone and I've been very, very impressed so far. I'll let you know how it holds up when I crash it. Hopefully I won't, but if I do, I'll let you know. And I think overall these are pretty tough, looking at all the stress tests on YouTube, and for an entry level drone, as long as you're careful not to crash it, it should have return to home features set up nicely, and you haven't got to worry about the aviation authority stuff. it's just basically a really high-end toy, which I think is fantastic. Anyway guys, let me know what your thoughts are on the Mavic Mini. I'm going to say I do sort of miss the Mavic Pro in the fact that it did feel a little more premium, but I think the extended flight time is a justifiable switch for me, considering I'm only losing a little bit of resolution. Anyway guys, let me know what you think below. What drone would you get? Are you looking at this drone? If so, why? And why are you not looking at competitors? Or again, a bigger drone like I used to have. And I will see you guys very soon with more awesome videos. GTR tuning is coming soon. The second lockdown stops and we can go to Lichfield and have it all tuned. We're nearly going to hit 700 horsepower, lads. It's going to be crazy. Anyway guys, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell to stay up to date with all of my future content, and I will see you guys very soon with some tech videos, mostly car videos, some travel videos. Peace.